Hello fellow brawlers, I'm KairosTime, and it is time to talk about Penny's, Piper's, and El Primo's star powers. We're going to give you guys a sneak peek of their newest star powers, and then of course we'll rank them as well as their old star powers so you guys know which to focus on getting and using. Let's go ahead and start off by talking about Penny's newest star power, Balls of Fire. Cannonballs from Penny's turret set the ground on fire for 3 seconds, and enemies burn in the area for 400 damage per second. At first, I thought this was going to have a similar radius to like Brock's star power, but it actually has twice the radius, which means that it reaches 4 tiles across, and that is actually crazy. If you're playing a mode that is all about like controlling the field, this is really important. Now it's also important to note that the fire actually lasts for 4 seconds, but the first tick of damage doesn't happen until after the first second. So you're not actually guaranteed to deal additional damage whenever your turret hits, because they'll actually have a second to try and run out of range of the fire. However, while you're not guaranteed to deal damage to every single enemy you hit, you are guaranteed to have more control over the field with every cannonball fired, and that makes a big impact on modes like Gem Grab and Siege, not to mention Bounty, where taking cover plays a big role in your success in the game. Now with all that said, this will have the biggest impact against stationary targets. Most players will just be able to like run out of the fire, so it won't actually deal full damage to them, but other turrets from Penny, Jessie, or Pam will all take an additional 1200 damage from every single cannonball. And let's not forget about the Safe in Heist or the Ike in Siege. In total, this means that a single attack from Penny's turret will deal a total of 2,880 damage. That's a lot of damage. In fact, that is 71% more damage to stationary targets, which is absolutely incredible. I think that you can understand the kind of impact that this will have on modes like Siege or Heist, where the entire method of winning is based on your ability to deal damage to a stationary target. And personally, what I think is really impactful about this star power is the fact that it is active throughout the entire duration of a turret being alive, rather than just when it dies, like Penny's other star power. And speaking of that star power, Penny's other star power is Last Blast. Now when Penny's cannon is destroyed, it shoots out one last barrage of 4 bombs, targeting nearby enemies, dealing 1,680 damage. Now, I've done a lot of testing with this, and I've determined that the last target her star power will target is actually going to be the closest target to the turret. So if your goal is to actually use her star power to deal damage to a Safe or an Ike turret, or other players are nearby, you should actually place her turret further away from the Safe or the Ike turret rather than like right next to it. Additionally, guys, it seems like the star power actually seems to prioritize targets with less HP, at least less max HP, so it's actually less likely that it will drop an entire blast of cannonballs on the high safe. Now this is not confirmed, but based off of the testing that I've done, this seems to be the case. Now if the high safe is the only target within range, all 4 cannonballs will rain down on the turret with a massive blast of 6,720 damage, which is enough to take out 15% of a Safe's HP. That is actually a lot of damage, and this is probably one of the strongest star powers in the game at the moment. If you are paying attention to the turret, it's really not too difficult to avoid the damage from the star power, but if you are in the middle of battle, and not only do you have to worry about avoiding the turret's regular fire and juking the enemy player's fire, and somebody else takes out the turret and you're not expecting the last barrage to come flying out at you, it is very easy to get caught off guard, and the potential damage that it can do is absolutely game-changing. Even in the competitive meta, this star power gets a lot of use, and it really can make a very big impact. So then, which star power is better for Penny? This is a very hard one to answer without actually testing her new star power against actual players, because I do believe that Balls of Fire will be an excellent star power, but her current one is just so good. I think overall you're better off going with Last Blast, but there are definitely reasons why you will want to have Balls of Fire as well. The biggest factor is the fact that Balls of Fire is active whenever Penny has a turret up, and Last Blast only triggers when Penny's turret gets taken down or is replaced by another turret. The consistent control from the fire on the ground will make it very difficult for enemy players to get where they want to without taking damage, and Penny will also be able to use that to predict the movement paths of her enemies, making it that much easier for her to hit her targets and recharge up her super. Additionally, the 71% damage boost against stationary targets is really excellent. Now, a really skilled player will be able to play around both of these star powers, but I think that it takes less skill to play around balls of fire than it does to constantly remind yourself of Last Blast. If I could only play one star power into the next set of balance changes, I think I would go with Last Blast because it's just so good. But both of them are definitely S tier star powers, and I'm really looking forward to testing Balls of Fire because I think it has amazing potential. If you're looking to choose a brawler to focus on getting to level 9, I would highly recommend Penny because both her star powers are so good. All I can say, guys, is Penny sure does have some great Balls of Fire. Now, Piper's new star power is Snappy Sniping. When Piper hits an enemy with her attack, she reloads 0.5 ammo instantly. That cuts her reload speed in half, which is basically a 200% buff to Piper's reload speed whenever she hits a target, which would make her reload speed slightly faster than Rosa's. Now, this includes all enemy targets, including Nita bears, turrets, even the heist safe or an Ike turret count as well, even the Ike bot. As you can see, this allows Piper to land 5 shots without any delay, assuming all of them actually land. And the chances are that in real battle, by the time you've hit your 5th shot, there will have been a little bit lag in between each attack, and you'll have a 6th one ready to go. And if you just so happen to land all 6 shots in a row at max damage with Piper, that translates to 13,776 damage. 13,000, guys, almost 14,000. That is not a typo. That is crazy, and that is incredibly overwhelming. That is enough damage to take out 45% of an Ike turret or 31% of a heist safe before Piper ever has to fall back to reload. That is a lot of damage. Now, in an actual fight, Piper isn't going to land all of her shots because it does take a lot of practice to master her shots, and enemies are always moving, trying to juke you, and things like that. So the strength of this star power is absolutely going to depend on the skill of the user in comparison to the skill of the enemy team juking the shots. But the most skilled Pipers are absolutely going to dominate with Piper, and it's really going to feel like they never have to fall back to reload, like ever. I am very curious to see how this star power will influence Piper's viability in other modes like Heist, assuming that they're like open maps with easy access to the safe. Now, for Piper's original star power, we have Ambush. Piper's attack deals extra damage when she's hidden in a bush. This scales from 120 damage from close range, which is a 15% buff, all the way to 400 additional damage at max range, which is a 17% buff to Piper's attack damage. As a reminder of the star power, Piper's ammo bars actually change to yellow for the user to signify that you're actually hidden in a bush. And as an enemy warning shot, her attacks will change from a normal tail to having like a rainbow tail. Like as soon as you see that, you're like, whoa, gotta watch out for that ambush. Now at max damage, Piper's shot will increase from just under 2.3 thousand damage to just under 2.7 thousand damage with a single attack. With 3 attacks, she's able to deal just barely enough damage to take out El Primo in the game with 3 quick attacks, and that is absolutely crazy. With all that said, this does require that she is hidden in a bush when she fires off that first attack and that she stays at max range. Now, because of this, Piper does best with this star power on maps where there's a lot of bushes that she can actually use to hide in and activate the extra damage. Not to mention, she always requires maps that are really long range and very open that she can actually hit people with. And then, of course, the map also has to be somewhat wide open so she can actually hit people without them hiding from behind walls. So then, which star power is better? Personally, I don't even think it comes close. Ambush is nice in those situations where the bushes are in the right place for her to get the additional damage, but the additional 400 damage per shot isn't nearly as impactful as the ability to reload her shots twice as fast. Seriously though, we're talking about the difference of a 17% increase in DPS with the requirement of being in a bush versus a 200% increase in DPS with the requirement of actually hitting a target, which, I mean, that's going to be required in both cases. I do think that Ambush is good for teaching players how to best use Piper in the bush, but I think it's really only a B tier star power, while Snappy Sniping is an S tier star power by far. In the hands of a pro player, I might even be willing to create a new tier called the game-breaking tier, simply because of how ridiculous its damage potential has. Then of course we have El Primo with his new star power, Meteor Rush. For this, El Primo gains a 32% speed boost for 5 seconds after using his super. This star power actually makes El Primo 5% faster than Rico with Robo Retreat, and it ties him with Leon using Smoke Trails as the fastest walking brawler in the game. In fact, you can think of Meteor Rush very similarly to Smoke Trails on Leon, with the exception that like El Primo's speed boost is 2 seconds shorter. I'm actually really excited to update the Brawl Stars Olympic series after all of the star powers are released, because I really do think that this will give El Primo the fastest racing speed in the game. We'll have to see though. Now El Primo's super was already amazing at helping him chase down enemy players, but every now and then, you know, he'd make a mistake, he'd move in the wrong direction, a brawler would escape, or El Primo would take a lot of damage and need to end up escaping. This star power will help him just cover those mistakes, cover those situations. Seriously though, no brawler will be able to escape El Primo with this ability. I think I'm most excited to try this out in Brawl Ball, where El Primo is already one of the best ball carriers in the game. Just imagine passing the ball up, supering onto it, and then having a 35% movement speed boost while you walk the ball right into the goal. The potential is crazy, especially because he has one of the highest HPs in the game, and it's very easy for him to survive a couple of brawlers attacking him as he just like walks right past him into the goal. Now for El Primo's original star power, we have El Fuego. For this, enemies caught in El Primo's super will burn for 800 damage over 4 seconds. It's kind of like Crow's attack, where you take damage over a period of time after getting hit. Now where his super normally does 1120 damage, this buffs his super damage by 70%, which that sounds like a lot, but if I'm being completely candid, it's really not a lot of extra damage. Like, if El Primo lands on an enemy brawler with his super, it's only a matter of seconds before that brawler is going to get taken out. And El Primo can actually just deal more damage in a split second with half of a regular attack than El Fuego can over 4 seconds. Most of the time, the enemy player is already going to be dead because El Primo's punching his face into the ground before those 4 seconds are up. And in my experience, this star power does make an impact in battle every now and then, but it's really not very often. So then, which one is better? Definitely going to be Meteor Rush by a long shot. I think that the buff from Meteor Rush is much better at helping El Primo take out enemy targets than El Fuego. However, I will say that a skilled El Primo won't really need Meteor Rush to make that much of a difference. Both star powers help cover up mistakes, but Meteor Rush does it a little bit better. Plus, it adds versatility in running away, or if you want to make a goal in Brawl Ball, it does that as well. Overall, I would say that El Fuego is a B tier star power, while Meteor Rush is an A tier star power. I will say that I am really excited to play this with El Primo Meteor Rush with the energy drink game mode. I cannot imagine anything scarier in the game than an El Primo with Meteor Rush and the energy drink like chasing you down while he has 10 power cubes. I can't think of anything scarier, so please don't put anything in the comment section that's scarier than that. I'm already afraid enough as it is. Okay guys, so from today's video, there are definitely some star powers that I think you should focus on getting first. Now, while you will want both of Penny's star powers, Last Blast has already proven itself to be one of the best star powers in the game. However, you still may also consider Balls of Fire for certain maps and modes where control is especially important. Now, Piper's Snappy Sniping offers the ability to double her DPS in the hands of a skilled user, and that has the potential to punish an enemy team much more than Ambush does, once again in the hands of a skilled player. Now for El Primo, both of his star powers help him overcome mistakes, but Meteor Rush offers some additional versatility over El Fuego, making it the star power of choice. Out of all of the star powers in today's video, I think that Piper's Snappy Sniping is the most game-changing and is arguably game-breaking. If there is any star power that possibly has the ability to dethrone Band-Aid as the best in the game, it very well might be Snappy Sniping, though that will, once again, depend on the skill of the user. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you subscribe so you do not miss next week's video on the last 3 brawlers to get their second star powers, guys. That's Bo, Tick, and Crow. For now, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in Brawl Stars.